Whose idea was it to make the goodbye video?
We brought it up and gave him the choice. He decided to do it.
What happened at the test site?
We wanted the defendant to see what a bomb would do to give him a sense of realism.
The device was detonated?
Yes, it was a huge explosion.
Then you drove back to Corvallis?
Yes, we got lost for like 2 hours each way, so it was a very long day.
What happened next?
The defendant decided to make the goodbye video.
Then showed the video. It starts with the defendant in white robes. He says that he is ready. After a long pause, he says, wait a second, takes off the robes, and has on a military-style camouflage shirt and pants. He starts in Arabic and switches to English.
As your soldiers target our civilizations, we will do the same. How dare you attack a Muslim land? Living in America is a sin. To my parents who held me back from jihad, I will ask you on Judgment Day about your living with the enemy. To my sister, I say, fear God. To my brother, I say, follow my lead.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Court is in recess until 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Wednesday morning started with a surprise.
Your Honor, move to dismiss.
Denied. Call in the jury.
The jury filed in, and Public Defender Lisa Monet began her cross-examination of the undercover agent, Youssef.
You were not the first FBI agent to contact the defendant.
I don't know about that.
Have you heard of Agent Bill Smith?
I've heard of that.
You testified that you were trying to assess the defendant's mental state, and that might have been influenced by earlier FBI contact from Agent Smith.
I don't know about that.
The defendant was not fluent in Arabic.
True.
So you and Hussein could talk behind his back. You knew that he strayed from his religion.
Yes.
That he was familiar with the language of jihad and used it with ease.
I thought he was radicalized.
You knew he was conflicted. He was Salafi and yet drank, smoked marijuana, and fraternized with women, all of which are not consistent with his religion.
Okay.
You knew he was religiously conflicted and provided him with guidance.
Not religious guidance.
Let me remind you of your email. Can you read the highlighted section?
Allah has a good reason for you to stay where you are.
So you provided religious guidance.
If you say so.
You knew he was poor?
Not that he was hungry.
You knew he wanted to go to Alaska to work.
He wanted to continue on to jihad in Yemen.
You knew he was working 2 jobs in Portland.
Yes.
You knew he was lonely.
Yes.
Your partner, Hussein, said, I love you to the defendant on their first meeting.
Yes.
He was just 18 when you met him.
He said he was 19.
He was still living with his mother.
Yes.
He had a curfew.
Huh?
He had to be home at a certain time.
Yes.
You talked to him like a child.
I don't agree.
You said, you look like you are eating ice cream.
Yes.
That you are a kid.
Yeah, okay.
He was like a son to Hussein.
Yes.
You knew he was easily manipulated.
No, I just learned that last week.
You testified that you were worried that he would do something else, yet he was under massive 24/7 surveillance.
No one told me how much.
In August 2010, the FBI Counterterrorism Division wrote a memo stating that the defendant was not a danger and that he would not take action on his own.
No one ever told me.
Let's see if we can agree what happened on July 30th.
Okay.
That was your first face-to-face meeting with the defendant.
Yes.
It lasted about 30 minutes.
Yes.
You were wearing a concealed recording device.
Yes.
You specifically asked for this device.
I don't recall.
Does this email refresh your memory?
Witness screen only.
Okay.
So you might have forgotten things from 2.5 years ago.
Unless my memory is refreshed by documents.
The recording device you specifically requested somehow failed.
I'm not the electronics expert.
Your handler, Agent Chin, was in the hotel lobby for the first meeting and he could hear you.
Yes.
Agent Chin destroyed all his original notes.
Yes.
There's no tangible evidence from the first meeting. Let's see what we do know. It was the FBI's idea to create the goodbye video.
Yes.
And this video has evidentiary value.
Yes.
So you helped create evidence with an eye to this trial.
He chose the topic. Those were his words.
You cajoled him into making the video. You gave him some options with your finger on the scale.
I wanted him to make the video.
You've made videos in other cases.
Surveillance videos.
On the November 4th car ride to the test bomb site, the defendant decided not to do the video in the U.S.
True.
To wait until he goes abroad.
Yes.
And you changed his mind.
Yes.
And it was easy.
Yes. Those were his own words.
Let's take a closer look at that.
She plays a clip of the November 4th car ride to the test bomb site.
You are about to make history, my love. You know, with your background as a poet, you could write a lot for the brothers. Write something nice for your brothers. You want to write about why you are doing this. It's up to you what to write. Most people want to do it, and they usually like to write something to their family. You write so beautifully, my love. Okay. Tell me about the war scenes again.
This is you and Hussein directing content of the goodbye video.
Yes.
You assigned him the task of making the video.
Yes.
And you described the topics.
Yes.
When you said that you didn't have influence on the video, that wasn't true.
Okay.
Let's have a look at some more evidence you helped create. It was the FBI's idea to have the defendant buy electronics,
Yes.
and you wrote him a shopping list.
Yes.
He didn't know what a toggle switch was.
Not at first.
The FBI provided the money.
Yes.
There was nothing illegal on the list.
True.
Nothing dangerous.
True.
The most difficult item was a timer, and he couldn't get that.
He got most of it.
Earlier, the government argued that the defendant's use of code words, "I found my keys," to indicate that he located a parking space made him spycraft sophisticated. The FBI gave him those code words.
Yes.
Throughout the operation, you had to make sure he stayed on track.
Yes.
There were, in fact, dozens of agents involved in surveillance, and at the face-to-face meetings, the Portland Police Department provided a full SWAT team.
Yes.
It must have been expensive.
Object. Relevance.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Mr. Bishop, call your next witness.
The government calls Hussein to the stand. How did you get involved in this case?
Agent Chin called me in August of 2010.
What was your role?
I was posing as an Al-Qaeda bomb maker.
How did you start?
We found out that the recorder failed on the first meeting. We wanted to recapture that.
Your first meeting with the defendant was on August 19th,
Yes.
and you wore a body wire.
Yes.
What happened at this meeting?
We started with small talk. It was important to get him to like me so we could get all the facts. Then the defendant came up with the target of Pioneer Square.
What did he tell you he wanted to do?
He came up with the idea to get a truck full of explosives and blow people up at the tree lighting ceremony on November 26th.
Why did you ask him what was in his heart?
Our goal was to assess, so his mindset was important. He said we have to do something about the attacks on Muslim countries. He felt justified in killing Americans.
Why did you give the defendant positive feedback?
I was playing my role.
Did you give the defendant options?
Yes.
How many times did you say that he could just walk away and there would be no shame?
I told him he could get out at least 2 or 3 times. No shame.
Why did you try to talk the defendant out of his plan to blow up Americans?
We wanted to see how determined he was. He never hesitated.
Why did you take him to witness a real explosion?
To give him the sound and smell of a real explosion.